What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the greatest time of the year. Spoiler season. Well, I guess preview season, they want us to call it. It doesn't matter. We got new cards to look at. So to preface this, I will be only covering the spoilers for April 2nd, so Thursday, the first day spoilers. That way, come Monday, I can do the spoilers for Friday and get a video to you guys out time. And then from then, we should just be on track with normal spoilers. I had some extra clients to fit in today, so I couldn't get this one out on time. I'm sorry for you guys, but we'll be on track after this. So, biggest thing today is going to be discussing and dissecting the new mechanics, because they're pretty complicated. So let's start with the first card and talk about Mutate. So Huntmaster Liger is a 3 and a white for a 3/4 who has an ability Mutate for 2 and a white. So if you cast a spell for its mutate cost, put it over or under a target non-human creature you own. They mutate into the creature on top, plus all the abilities from under it. So what that'll look like is, let's say you have a 1/1 on the battlefield. You can pay 2 and a white to put this on top, make that creature a 3/4, and then let's say that token had haste or something. Well, that's a bad example because it wouldn't have summoning sickness anyway. But let's say it has trample or something. You now have a 3/4 with trample, and it would get +1/+1 because that is the first time it mutated. Alternatively, if you have a 1/1 token with trample, you could put this, pay 2 and a white, and put this underneath of it. You now have a 1/1 trample that gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So pretty bad if you do it that way. But what's interesting too is then it's treated as one creature. So let's say they play a Baby Teferi and bounce it to your hand, and you have 3 mutated creatures on top of each other. All 3 of them go into your hand. If they play a kill spell on it, all 3 will go into your graveyard. Now where this gets interesting is with the gods like Ilharg or Ronis, or the ones that go third from the top, like Kefnet, they'll all go third from the top, and you can put them in any order you want. So I have a feeling if we look more into that, there's probably something to abuse there. So that's already some synergy I'm liking. And you'll notice the important thing with Mutate is you can still play it as a normal creature, and then if something else mutates onto this, its ability still triggers. So if you just play a 4 mana 3/4 Huntmaster Liger and then mutate something else on top of it, it will also get +X/+X, even if it's done in that order as well. So mutate creatures work really well with each other. So I have a feeling it's going to be really important to maintain a board presence in this format if these guys are actually playable. So first impression Huntmaster Liger is if you're mutating, you're not going wide. So unless you have a mutate creature that makes creature tokens, he's going to be pretty bad. Yeah, so he looks like probably a pretty decent draft card. But I mean, you just mutate this twice and then you get +2/+2 on your whole team. That could be a pretty powerful swing in the late game. So all you need is pretty much 1 mutate token generator, and this guy could actually do some work. But without that, mutate and going wide are pretty much at odds, so not excited about him. Another thing about mutate is that, let's say you put it on the stack and it's targeting a 1/1 creature, and they shock it in response to you casting it as mutate, targeting that creature. It doesn't go to the graveyard or fizzle like an enchantment. It actually just enters as a normal creature. So let's say you have Huntmaster Liger, you pay 3 mana to mutate, and there's a 1/1 on the battlefield. If they kill it in response, you just get a 3/4 Liger. The mutate ability does not trigger because it didn't actually mutate. It enters as just a normal creature. So it has less blowout potential, which is really important, because if that was the case, I think mutate would just be unplayable because you would just get blown out every game, and just instant speed removal would be at a ridiculous premium. So that's something to consider as well. I would recommend looking up the Wizards rules article for these guys. Pretty much all the mechanics for the set, because they're pretty complicated with all these corner cases. The one thing I don't know about mutate is if you have a legendary creature mutated, on top, I imagine it just counts as that creature. This creature, it becomes the creature on top plus all abilities from under. So I imagine it has the name of the creature on top and is legendary. But if it's on bottom, I don't know. Like, let's say this will be a card that comes up later, Aluna, right? It's a legendary. So if you have 1 Aluna on top and 1 Aluna mutated on bottom, I don't know if they can coexist. That's something I want to look at. That was not covered in the Wizards article. So hopefully it's something that will be clarified soon. But yeah, mutate just has a ton of layers to it. But getting to our next card, Carrucha the Microsage. He costs 3 of anything and then 2 green and blue hybrid for a 5/4 dinosaur hippo. Cool creature types in the set, by the way. And then he has Companion, which means your starting deck contains only cards with converted mana cost 3 or greater and land cards. So how Companion works is you have a deck building restriction, where if you follow the deck building restriction listed in the Companion, you can actually start with it at your sideboard. You can start with it in the Companion zone, kind of like the Commander zone, and you can cast it from there at any point in the game. It is important to note, though, when I say at any point in the game, I mean the first time you cast it. So it doesn't return to the command zone like a normal commander would. So if it dies, it goes to your graveyard. If you bounce it, it goes to your hand. If you shuffle it in your library, it goes in your library. You don't get to just keep on replaying it from that command zone over and over. It's just the first time you play it. Didn't want any confusion on that one. Now, it does take up a sideboard slot, so you'll be down to 14 sideboard cards if you have a companion card. Also, you can only have one companion, so even if your deck fits the restrictions for Carrucha, you can only have one Carrucha floating around in your sideboard/companion zone area. You can't just have all 4 out there. So really powerful in that it'll get you pretty much a starting hand of 8 cards, but some of the restrictions are pretty rough. For instance, Carrucha. If you can't start the game till turn 3, we have problems. Now, one way that they're going to try to subvert that, I believe, is they're cycling in the set. So if you have cards like, what was that? I think Chefette Monitor. Kind of like the Amonkhet cards where if you cycle it, it has an effect. Then you might have a leg to stand on. But all the ones we have so far pretty much only interact with other creatures. So we have like a 2-mana cycler that you can cycle, whenever you cycle something, it pings. So you can't even have that in your deck. But there's another one where it's like 8 mana and you can cycle it for 2 and it gives a creature trample. That's not going to affect the board until turn 3 anyway. So those are, if we don't see anything better in that category, I don't think he's going to work at all. Important to note though, adventure creatures and split cards do count. So for instance, like the Lovestruck Beast, that's actually a 4 CMC card. So you can put Lovestruck Beast in a Carrucha deck, which will be interesting. And plus then, if you have a bunch of Lovestruck Beasts and Giants and Brazen Borrowers, you can draw easily, 3, 4, 5 cards off Carrucha if they're all on the battlefield. So that's pretty interesting. But then that also means you're playing all the adventure creatures without an Edgewall Innkeeper or a Lucky Clover or any of the things that make them good. So not sure how good the deck's going to be. So the adventure would have to be an afterthought, just a way to get you into the other 3 CMC cards. It can't be the basis of the deck. So off the top of my head, Carrucha doesn't seem very good. But when it enters the battlefield, you draw a card for each permanent you control with converted mana cost 3 or greater. So if you do find a way to get him, you survive to get him onto the battlefield, that could be pretty good. He draws off of himself. No, each other permanent, so he doesn't draw off of himself. Oh, yikes, that's bad. Yeah, so you need at least 5 mana 5/4 isn't good enough for standard. 5 mana 5/4 that draws 1 card is pretty good. You would need to draw at least like 2 cards off this before I'm excited. And at that point, I mean, if your deck's all 3 or greater cards, I hope you're playing a 3 or 4 drop on turns 3 and 4. So yeah, not excited for Carrucha. Maybe just playing it straight up in a normal deck, I think would be better than having a companion deck. But don't think this card will be seeing too much play. All right, next we got a really exciting one. We're ramping it up super quick. I'm going in the order of Mythic spoiler, so no rhyme or reason to this. We got Aluna, Apex of Wishes, which is 2 green, blue, red, so teamer colors, for 6/6 with flying and trample. When this creature mutates, you can exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land permanent card and put it onto the battlefield or into your hand. You can mutate for 3, a hybrid of either red or green, and blue, blue. So it actually costs more to mutate, which I think will be more common in a lot of the more powerful effects. Because a lot of these, the mutate effect is really, really good. So for instance, if this mutate effect costs less, like 4 or something, this would be disgusting. It'd just be like a Bloodbraid Elf that gives your creature a hasty 6/6 body. Yeah, that'd be disgusting. So a lot of things to love about this card. Important to note, it just exiles the card. It doesn't do a cascade effect where you put them on the bottom of your library in random order or you put them into your graveyard. They're just exiled. So if you have things that can interact with cards from exile, that'd be pretty interesting. But it doesn't put them in the graveyard to, fuel escape, and it doesn't put them on the bottom of your library. So decking could be a concern if you trigger this too many times, If you go through like a stint of like 3 lands twice, you're already, 8 cards deep? So something to consider. But honestly, I see this just being played most of the time as just played out there as a 5-mana 6/6 Flample, because that's disgusting. I mean, even Doom Whisperer had its time in the sun, where I had plenty of games where I would play it as a 5-mana 6/6 Flample, and it would just win the game before you even surveil. So I could see it, you just play it like that, and then you have something else you want to mutate onto it, and then you get some ridiculous triggers going. And there's some other ones you'll notice. I think Teamer and Jeskai will probably be the two big mutate color pairs, mainly because most of the mutate abilities on them have hybrid costs. And I noticed that blue, red, green and blue, red, white are the ones that have the most overlap in terms of the hybrid. It'll be pretty disgusting the combinations you can have if you can fit together some of the... There's one that like lightning helixes stuff anytime you mutate. There's one that returns stuff, allows you to cast cards from your graveyard every time you mutate. So this could fit in the Jeskai build. The Jeskai one could fit in this build. It's some pretty nutty stuff. And so the one thing you have to be worried about is, you know, sometimes maybe you'll hit like a Paradise Druid or something. So I'm interested to see how you can build your deck around it. I mean, maybe you pair this with Carrucha so you have only good hits in your deck. I don't know. But honestly, hitting anything off of this will be pretty disgusting. And the other part of it, being able to put it in your hand, makes it really good, because then you can pair it with stuff like, it doesn't have the Bloodbraid Elf problem, right? Where you cascade into something like they have no creatures on the board and you flip over like a Terminate, or they have no cards in hand and you hit a Blightning, or stuff like that, where you flip over a card that has no effect on the board. So if you flip over something like, I don't know, you could even put counterspells in your deck, and then you could just put it in your hand. Or you have a Hydroid Krasis, which seems very likely in a Teamer deck. Or you flip over a Nissa, and you already have a Nissa on the battlefield. That's pretty disgusting value to then be able to just put that into your hand. So that's a really, you know, subtle but powerful part of the text on this card. So I think this is going to be one of my favorite cards to brew around. Teamer is one of my favorite colored, I wasn't say pairs, but that's not a pair, trios. So you'll definitely see me playing around this card a lot. It's got some super powerful capabilities. All right, next we got one of the first Planeswalkers. We got a newbie. It's Luka, the Caprica Outcast. He costs 3 and 2 red for 5 loyalty Planeswalker. He has a +1 that says exile the top 3 cards of your library. Creature cards exiled this way gain. You may cast it from exile as long as you control Luka. His -2 is exile target creature you control, then reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card with higher converted mana cost. Higher. Put the card on the battlefield and the rest on the bottom in a random order. -7, each creature you control deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. Wow. Okay, so good thing is high starting loyalty, because he has pretty much no ways of protecting himself. The +1 ability, I feel like is kind of gambling, because there's plenty of times where I could see you play this on turn 5, right? You +1, in response your opponent murders Riders your Luka. And then you're just you're screwed. You literally got 0 value, actually negative value, off of your 5 mana Planeswalker. Feels pretty bad. If you play another Luka, then that could be pretty good. But even then, you still have to be able to untap with it and have enough mana to actually get the creatures you exiled. So I would see myself wanting to have, well, A, you're going to want to play a lot of creatures to make the -2 good anyway. And B, you're going to want, that also plays into the fact that you want creatures out for the -2. Because I could see myself many times in turn 5 just wanting to -2 rather than +1ing. Then once you have a ton of mana, you can +1. Maybe this could slot into like a Fires deck. The way Jeskai Fires looks right now, I don't think so. A, their curve is already super high, and they are very clunky without Fires. B, I don't even know if they have enough creatures that you want to be doing this, because they have a lot of pieces that help them find the Fires. I don't really know if they have too many creatures, maybe a more creature heavy version of the build. I would honestly rather see this in like a mutate Teamer deck that just happens to play Fires. That could be interesting, because then you get to play it, have all your mana untapped, plus him, play the card for free. Seems pretty good. But the -2 is what I'm really interested in. So just higher converted mana cost, and it's not even one higher, it's any amount higher. Like, what? So when I see this, you could even make, you guys have seen on my channel, I've made a Jeskai Tokens deck. So we have things like Outlaw's Merriment. We have the 2 mana white enchantment that you can pay 4 and make 1/1 tokens. I see this, you could just play a bunch of Planeswalkers. If we have, which this set sounds like it's built for, some sort of Eldrazi creature, right? Some sort of huge, like, 13 mana cost creature that just takes over the game. You could just run a bunch of tokens, and no creatures other than that one, and then do his -2 and you're guaranteed to hit it every time. If it has a ridiculous enter the battlefield trigger, sounds amazing. Cast triggers you can't do, which is rough. So we need something like a ridiculous Eldrazi with an enter the battlefield trigger. So if that's a thing, I think Luka quote-unquote combo decks could be real. Otherwise, he could just be great value. Like let's say you just build a deck with like, because so many times you want to ramp, like let's say you have an Arboreal Grazer and then a 3-drop, you want to have that perfect, or you have like a Paradise Druid into a 4-drop, you just don't run any 3-drops, you can just make sure anytime you -2 a Paradise Druid, you're going to be hitting a Questing Beast or something, right? You can just build creatively with your curve to make sure that when you're -2ing the right creature, you know what you're going to hit. So let's say you have, all 1 through 4 drops, and then you just have Dream Trawlers, so that anytime you -2 your 4-drop, you just hit a Dream Trawler or something like that. That seems pretty good to me, to be honest. Gosh, what other creatures would you want to hit? I don't even know. I feel like this set's going to add a lot, and this guy will just get better as more and more spoilers come out. So Luka's definitely a powerhouse, and keep in mind, if he sticks around, the +1 is ridiculous. You're effectively drawing 3 cards, because by the time you have 5 lands, you don't need to be hitting land drops too crazily, so you're happy, if this is the late game of the deck, you're happy just either getting rid of lands or drawing creatures. So if you plus him like twice, that's some stupid amount of card advantage right there. And it's not till end of turn. This is a red card that doesn't make you cast it till end of turn, it's just while you have Luka. Which is just ridiculous. And then if you get his -7 in the right deck, you're just winning anyway. Like, you could hit people for like 20 damage easy. Luka's going to be super fun to play around. The format might be too aggressive, or there might just be, if there's good Planeswalker removal, he could be kind of rough. But if they have the right combo pieces, this guy could be sick. Okay, next up we have Vivienne, Monster's Advocate, for 3 and 2 green, another 5-mana walker. For a 3 loyalty, walker with 2 passive abilities. 1, you may look at the top card of your library anytime. 2, you can cast creature spells from the top of your library. Its +1 lets you create a 3/3 beast creature token, and you can put your choice of a vigilance counter, reach counter, or a trample counter on it. Its -2 is when you cast your next creature spell this turn, search your library for a creature card with lesser converted mana cost, put it on the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Wow. Okay, so we got an Experimental Frenzy type effect in the right deck that also creates creatures to protect itself. And it pretty much has combo fodder written in the text of the -2. So, wow. The only thing that can hold this back is obviously the low loyalty. It can protect itself, so if you get ahead on board, like if you go turn 1 Grazer, turn 2 Uro, turn 3 Vivienne, chances are you're going to be able to protect this thing. You'll have 2 blockers and it's at 4 loyalty. Most people are saying, oh, well, there's not a 3-mana burn spell, so in order to burn the blocker out to kill Vivienne, it's going to have to use 2 stomps or a shock and a stomp. At that point, they can just kill the Vivienne, or if they have enough board presence, kill the 3/3 and then kill the Vivienne. So I have a feeling this is going to have a hard time sticking around against the right decks. But don't sleep on the flexibility of the +1, right? A Vigilance. Okay, so against aggressive decks, you can give a Vigilance so it can protect it. Against, blue-white flyers or something, you can give a Reach. Reach is going to be huge to be able to protect this thing. Trample, in case you have opposing Planeswalkers you want to do pressure. So it's going to do a good job protecting the board if it can stick around for a little while. Also love how the -2 kind of combos with the ability to cast creatures from the top. So it gives you creature fodder to cast, and then it rewards you for that creature fodder. Honestly, if they print like a Courser of Krufix or an Oracle of Muldaya type effect, where you can play lands from the top of your library too, I would love that. I guess you could kind of make it work with Bolas's Citadel, but even then, that's only like 1 land from the top, and you can just cast spells anyway. So yeah, that's kind of pushing it. But yeah, if you have something like that, and then something that also lets you hit extra land drops, like the Dryad of Elysian Grove, that would be sick. And I loved me my Citadel deck, so maybe a Vivienne Storm deck could be something as well. I don't know, man. The only problem is everything in context, right? So, can you think of another 5-mana green Planeswalker that's dominating? Oh yeah, Nissa. Every green deck runs Nissa. It's just stupid. Like, to not run it, it doubles your mana. It makes you 3/3 Vigilance haste creature tokens, so it kind of replaces that +1 pretty well. I guess you could eventually run out of fodder, but anyone who spends all their time killing the individual Nissa lands is probably losing anyway. And yeah, it just plays better with the pieces that green already has. So unless there's some combo that works really well with, like, you know, a 4-drop and a 2-drop, or a 3-drop and a 2-drop, or a 5-drop and a 3-drop, relying on the -2 for the thing that makes it better doesn't seem very promising to me. So unless there's like a real combo, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm going to play this in a variety of decks just for memes. Like, if I want to make like a standard Birthing Pod deck with Prime Speaker Vanifar, and I just want to make sure I can hit my Vanifar every game, best believe I'm going to be putting Vivienne in there as another fetch outlet, you know? So I think it'll be great for memes. Once Nissa rotates out, it'll have a better place. And it might have a place now. I could see it seeing some fringe play, but I just don't see it outclassing Nissa in any way. Nissa is just a stupid magic card. Maybe in like 3 or 4 color decks, if the new rare lands they're printing support those mana bases. But otherwise, if you have any amount of forests, we even see 3 color decks already profiting off of Nissa. I just don't see it outclassing Nissa. But definitely a fun card to keep your eye on, and it will absolutely see at least fringe play. Alright, next up we got Godzilla, King of the Monsters. For 3 red green, you get a 7/3 dinosaur with trample, and lethal damage dealt to creatures you control is determined by their power rather than their toughness. So we got like a reverse Arcades, reverse Doran type effect, which is interesting because this is effectively a 5 mana 7/7 trample, which is pretty dope. Although we've seen 5 mana 6/6 flying trample pretty commonly, so I don't think it's actually good in the whole scheme of things. I'd rather have a 5/5 flample, or 5 mana 6/6 flample, which is pretty disgusting if you consider that that's where standard is at this point. But I don't know, pretty cool. I don't really see its effect having a huge effect on a lot of creatures. If anything, I would see it profiting off of its body as a 5 mana 7/7. But if they print the right creatures, you know, if we have some ball lightnings or something that don't get sacrificed at the end of turn, that could be kind of cool. But I mean, it's all in context. Not super excited about it. All this, there's too much value in standard right now for this to be just a big dopey dude to be taken over. So I don't know. Maybe you could put it in like a reprint of Sarkhan's Unsealing. I don't know, man. But yeah, not super excited about this card. But this one I definitely am. Luminous Broodmoth. 2 white for a 3/4 flyer insect. Also, the alternate art on this is Mothra. Super dope. Whenever a creature you control without flying dies, return to the battlefield under its owner's control without a flying counter on it. This card like speaks to me on like a spiritual level. This is everything I loved. Graveyard shenanigans and flicker effects are like my jam. You guys know this about me. Journey to Eternity was like my favorite card in Standard when it was around. This just seems so easily just exploitable, right? So pretty much every card comes back for free. It's like the white Nightmare Shepherd, but your creatures, instead of getting worse, they get much better and they don't get exiled. Very important point. Even just like something simple like cat combo, right? Cat and oven. You sack the cat to the oven, it comes back for free with a flying counter on it. You can sack it again to a Woe Strider and then bring it back with a food token. You can just get like extra triggers. Like if you have a Mayhem Devil out, you're just doing Mayhem Devil, Woe Strider, either of those two. You're just doing so much extra damage. Your cats will stick around forever. They can have flying so they can actually attack and pressure planeswalkers. Oh my gosh. Woe Strider plus any other creatures seems pretty ridiculous. You play Luminous Broodmoth and then you play Plaguecrafter. Double sack. If there's any sort of like Necrotal or like Ravenous Chupacabra effect where it comes in and kills a creature or deals damage to something, this card can be stupid. We have really good sack outlets right now in Woe Strider and Witch's Oven. We have some pretty decent other ones too. I don't know, even just put this in a deck like Abzan value with like Vraska. Yes please. There's a mutate creature coming up in Abzan colors that interacts with the graveyard very well. I could totally see myself playing Broodmoth, that creature, and Vraska. It's, oh my gosh, there's just so much value. Or I don't know, maybe play it in like a Bant Incarnation deck with a bunch of enchantment creatures that can come back. And then you just have more stuff to sacrifice too. I don't know. That deck would take a lot of balancing between non-enchantment and enchantment creatures. My gosh, I don't know. This I would need to like brew with this for like years, which I'm happy to fully just articulate what I'm excited for, the possibilities of it. This thing is disgusting with the current sack outlets in Standard. Creatures are already at a premium with Enter the Battlefield triggers, so being able to exploit that is just ridiculous, and it's just a decent body on its own. A 3/4 flyer for 4? Heck yeah. And it's Mothra. Alternate art, like, what's not to love? I don't really have more to say on this right now just because there's so many possibilities I don't even know where to begin. This is even just disgusting, like, straight up. Like, just play Mardu. You can play this as a Carrucha, right? Double trigger. 2 mana, make your opponent discard 2 cards. That's pretty gross. Or Uro, you know? You just get to double ramp. Like, what? That's not fair. There's a lot of stupid going on here. The restriction is flying creatures, but honestly, the only flying creature I can remember people playing right now is Dream Trawler and Hybrid Crisis, and they're just fantastic even without recursion. Also, I mean, this works in the color pie for Elspeth Conquers Death, so if you really want to recur Dream Trawler, you can do that anyway. But I don't think that's as big as a stipulation as people may think. You can get a ton of value on this regardless. And it affects the battlefield. Like, let's say you have 3 creatures, your opponent has 3 creatures, right? You play this. Now either you can attack in, and if your opponent blocks your creatures, you now have effectively vigilance flying creatures, or you leave your creatures behind, and if they attack in, then you just get to have lethal crackback of flying creatures. It interacts with just combat, it interacts with exploitable enter the battlefield triggers. If they play Sweeper, right? Shatter the Sky, right? Sweeper's pretty good in this format so far. You just get all of your creatures back, except for Broodmoth if it kills it too, but whatever, who cares? There is just a stupid amount of value this card has, and it's everything I love, and this will probably be my favorite card in the set. Straight up. The only other one might be the Abzan one so far, but we'll see. You'll see me brew around this card a ton. I'm sorry, I'll stop talking about it, but I will not stop playing with it. Next card. Next one we have, it's kind of a quick one. It's Zagoth Mamba. 1 mana for a 1/1 Nightmare Snake. Lovely creature types. Whenever the creature mutates, target creature an opponent controls gets -2/-2 until end of turn. If we have cheap mutate creatures, meaning creatures that mutate for cheap, this will be actually a pretty decent card in the right format, in the right meta, right? I could imagine playing this turn 1 against mono red. I don't know, you're on the draw and they play like a Runaway Steamkin. Turn 2, you mutate something onto this, you kill their Steamkin. You now have probably a bigger body and this repeated effect. That seems pretty ridiculous. Yeah, so just thought this might come up in the format. This could be a player in the same way that 1 mana 1/2 enchantment creature that lets you draw cards when a creature that's enchanted dies is kind of a player. You saw me brew around some Abzan decks with him. I had Golgari enchantments, which was pretty much like a storm deck. I could see this playing a similar role. Card advantage not in the same way, but definitely very good. And, you know, cheap creatures are going to be important because you're going to want to have creatures around for when you mutate. So, yeah, I think this could be doing some stuff. All right, next one we got is Garuda, Doom of Depths, Gyruda. I don't know, man. It costs 4 and then 2 hybrid of either blue or black for 6/6 Demon Kraken, lovely creature type. Companion, your starting deck contains only cards with even converted mana costs. When it enters the battlefield, each player puts the top 4 cards of the library into the graveyard. Put a creature card with an even converted mana cost from among those cards onto the battlefield under your control. Wow, that's a lot of text. This is a complicated set, and I love it. So, first off, your starting deck contains only cards with even converted mana cost. That's the most approachable companion requirement I've seen so far. So this could have legs. I mean, it has quite a few. It's cracking. Anyway, yeah, because I could just see myself playing, like, I don't know, Paradise Druids and Growth Spirals and Questing Beasts and Garuda, right? A lot of the premier threats are odd, I'll give you that. You got your Agent of Treacheries, you got your Uros, you got Elspeth Conquers Deaths. This only does creature, so that doesn't even matter. But I mean, dude, this could grab like a Thassa to blanket. This could grab a Questing Beast. This could grab a Dream Trawler. I mean, this can go in many decks. This could go in Sultai. This could go in Bant. This could go in Blue-White Control. This could go in Teamer Mutate. Like, this is... Obviously, we'll have to see what the set contains to know the depths. Another Kraken joke. The depths of its abilities. But just off the top of my head, I think the Companion is the most approachable in this one. Starting with the card this powerful is really good. Important to note, the 4 cards get milled. You can only return one of the 4 cards that get milled. You don't get to return any card in your graveyard. So 2 of these don't go infinite. That's probably why they did it. But heavens to Betty, if I don't do it, remind me, guys. You best believe I will be testing out a deck to go infinite with this, because you know what's an even mana cost? Thassa's Oracle. Oh, interesting. Another one. 4-mana Jace. Another thing. Ooh, Thassa. Yeah. Oh, you know another one. Spark Double. Telling you guys, mono blue storm deck, where you just mill yourself out and then get back a Thassa. Okay, because right, like maybe you go Simic, right, for ramp. Play Garuda, right? You mill over 4 cards. You play a Spark Double. You mill over 4 more cards. Oh my gosh, guys, you could go so deep on this. You could go Bant, right? And then you could get the 2-mana Charming Prince, which could then exile Garuda, bring it back. And then you could flip over another Garuda, right? And then you flip over another Spark Double. Oh my gosh, or you put it in Sultai and you have Yarak out. So this double triggers. Like if you have a Yarak and a Garuda, you can't companion at that point, but that's fine. Although having your combo piece starting in your hand for a companion, for the companion effect, seems pretty legit. So maybe you don't want to go the Yarak route, but. In step, Thassa triggers, like this again, hit another Garuda or another Spark Double. There's something there, guys, I don't know. I mean, it won't be tier 1, but it's something. Or you could even just mill your opponent out. You have one thing that shuffles your graveyard back in your deck. And keep in mind, you get to... It mills both players, you get to put a card from either one. So even if you whiff on your end, you hit 4 lands, maybe they have something that can blink you. Maybe they have like a 3-mana Teferi and you could bounce it and play it again. I don't know if it's late in the game. Or you hit a Dream Trawler. Or you hit their Thassa. Thassa's a playable card. Even if your deck isn't optimized for this, or if it is optimized, even if you hit 4 lands, there's gotta be a chance you'll hit your opponents. Even if you're playing against mono red, I don't know, Steamkin as a blocker. Or you're playing against Team Adventure and you take... I was thinking about the adventure creatures, but most of them are Lovestruck Beast, I guess, you could take. That's 4 CMC. I'm going to brew on this card for sure, but I think this is actually pretty powerful. Pretty powerful. Alright, we got Lutri the Spell Chaser, which is a 1 and then 2 hybrid of blue or red for 3/2 Elemental Otter. Legendary creature as well. Companion. Each non-land card in your starting deck has a different name. It has flash, and when he enters the battlefield, if you casted it, copy target instant and sorcery spell you control, you may choose new targets for the copy. So, first of all, companion cost, terrible for standard, not worth it. It's just not worth it for the variants. I don't think there's enough good instants or sorceries or blue-red cards to put in a deck to make that doable. Then your next thought is, oh, Commander. It's gotta be amazing, right? No, Band and Brawl, Band and Commander. Because the companion effect is just a freebie there. I'm hoping maybe they can make it your commander instead of a companion. That would be kind of cool for them to be able to do that. But honestly, as a value creature, he might be decent. If we get some good removal, some good blue or red spells, I don't know, like a discounted Beacon Bolt, or if we had like a Lightning Bolt type effect, that'd be good. But waiting until you're at like turn 4 or 5, and even then you're only copying like, right now you're copying like an Opt, a Shock. Copying a Lava Coil is pretty powerful. If there's a cheap draw card effect, I don't know, copy a Growth Spiral, I guess. But at that point, it's already turn 5. So if you have 2 more land drops in hand, I don't know what you're ramping towards. But yeah, I think he's fine. He could be a player, but it depends on the instant and sorcery spells that they print in either blue, red, or the Jeskai. Because Jeskai spells is a thing. So if he has a place in there, it's probably in that deck, my first inclination. But Elemental Otter is a wonderful creature type, so he's a win nonetheless. Alright, next we got Vadrock, Apex of Thunder. Vadrock was my nickname in high school. Ayo! Oh dang. Okay, couldn't help it. He costs a blue, red, white, so Jeskai. For 3/3 flying first strike, whenever this creature mutates, you may cast target non-creature spell with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. And it can mutate for 1, and then a blue-white hybrid, red-red. So 4 mana, and it can fit in either a blue-red deck or a red-white deck or a Jeskai deck. So this is what I'm saying, man. This fits in the Teamer deck if you're just mutating it, right? I don't know if that would work. The Teamer deck seems to be creature-heavy, so I don't know about that. But even just playing like a Jeskai tempo deck, if the mana base is supported, I think that could be disgusting. Just imagine playing like, oh gosh, I don't even know. You could even play like, I don't know, Hero Precinct 1, and then turn 3 you play like a Teferi, bounce their thing, they attack back and kill the Teferi, right? You already have 2 tokens out there. You can mutate this onto either one of the tokens or the Hero Precinct 1. So the Hero Precinct 1 makes sure that you have enough fodder to mutate your stuff, while also the 3 colors Make sure that you have plenty of non-creature spells that are powerful enough to want to bring back. Oh my gosh, dude. So you get back your Teferi, and then you bounce another thing. Now you have a Teferi and a 3/3 flying first strike creature token, or a 3/3 flying first strike Hero Precinct 1, which could be important because most of the removal right now that's damage based is 2 damage. So if your opponent taps out in mono red and you get this down, like, you could be sticking around, you know? That's pretty gross. Also, just playing it as a 3 mana 3/3 flying first strike is pretty gross. It's pretty close to a, it's going to be on screen. The 3 mana human it was a 3 mana flying haste vigilance. That card did work in standard. It does work in modern humans. So like I said, if the mana base works, that's a respectable body. And then you can just, especially, we need to know if this legendary rule works. Because if you can mutate a Vadrak onto another Vadrak, even if you just sacrifice one, double trigger, that's disgusting. You can play this turn 3, another one turn 4. Oh my gosh, there's so many. We'll have to look at what the curve is. If there's other cards in Jeskai that are good at mutating as well, I think this will be good. The difficulty will be having enough creatures to make it mutate, while having enough non-creature spells to have the trigger worthwhile. So if they print something like a Lightning Helix or something, this is just going to be a bomb. If they print a good card draw spell in CMC 3 or less, this is disgusting. Even just getting back a Narset or Teferi is already disgusting. Where the Spark is playable, dudes. To keep that in mind until that rotates. This will be abusing Planeswalkers like crazy. So I think if you can get, like, I don't know, maybe a couple token generators. Like I said, Hero Precinct 1, and then like 2 or 3 other good mutate effects, I think you could have a pretty sick deck there. Alright, next we have just a quick one. Polywog Symbiote is a 2 mana 1/3 frog, which has the text, each creature spell you cast costs 1 less to cast if it has mutate. And whenever you cast a creature spell, if it has mutate, draw a card, then discard a card. This is what I'm looking for, right? This could work with Sultai. We have that 1 mana snake. You have this guy. Early creatures that both enable and pay off your mutate effects are really important. This could work in Teamer. And notice, even if you just cast the creature normally, all it needs is the mutate ability. So you can still cast it as a normal creature. You don't have to mutate this guy. I mean, you can though. So this will be pretty disgusting. I mean, you could even play, him turn 1, and then mutate the Vadrak Apex of Thunder turn 2, Vadrak turn 3. I don't know. You want to maybe you'll have a Shock in your graveyard or an Opt or something. I don't know. That's pretty low bar. I'm just saying, in terms of curve, this can affect curve pretty crazily. So he's just a really good enabler, and then that looting ability is pretty legit, man. Pretty legit. You can loot away all the extra lands you don't need because of that discounted effect. You can mutate onto him as a good target. I really like this card, and I think it'll actually be a surprising player in the format. But we will have to see. Next we have Umori the Collector, which costs 2, and then hybrid green or black for 4/5 legendary ooze creature. Companion, each non-land card in your starting deck shares a card type. As Umori the Collector enters the battlefield, choose a card type. Spells you cast of the chosen type cost 1 less to cast. This card seems bad to me. So you have to have a deck of only creatures, and then your only payoff is that, starting with an extra card in your hand is a big deal. Don't badmouth that. But just for 1 discard, you already have, gosh, what is that god's name? We have the green god that discards creatures already, and it's seeing no play. And it's more powerful than this. The powerful part of it, 4 mana for 4/5 body is The one thing I could see, maybe if you have a creature deck that needs the discounted effect to go off with like a combo or something, that'd be kind of cool. Literally the only thing that makes me think this could be remotely playable is the fact that it's just an extra card in your hand. I wouldn't want to just play this in the deck straight up. That just seems bad to me. I don't know. I don't think this is good. The restriction isn't worth it. Unless there's creatures that can also act as removal. The adventure creatures do make me think that could be a possibility. You could play this in like a Murderous Rider deck. That's the one thing where I think maybe this could have legs. If the cycle effects on the creatures do enough to let you interact, that could be kind of cool. I think it could see fringe play at best, being honest here. Unless there's some sort of ridiculous combo going on. But those are things to look for. Either cycle creatures that are of value, or if it works really well with the adventure creatures. Alright, next we got Snap Decks, Apex of the Hunt, or Spandex, one of the two. He costs 1 red, white, black Mardu colors, one of my favorites. For a 3/5 legendary dinosaur cat nightmare creature, awesome creature types. He has double strike, and whenever this creature mutates, deals 4 damage to target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls, and you gain 4 life. And it can mutate for 2, and then a hybrid red or black, and white. So 5 mana. Wow. I think this card is pretty busted, to be honest. Depends on how much interaction there is with the creatures. Playing just a 4 mana 3/5 double strike already has me kind of like, huh, maybe there's some potential there. I don't know, dude. But that mutate ability is disgusting. Like, just having him destabilize against an aggressive deck seems brutal. Like, if you're on the play, right? He can outclass anything they've played so far for 3 mana. Love Strike Beast, I guess. Is the only thing that'll be able to attack through this. And he has double strike. He can even trade with a Love Strike Beast at the very worst, though, right? And then you get to mutate either this onto something, or I would see, honestly, the play usually being play this as a 4 mana 3/5 double strike. Someone else mutates onto it. I don't know. There's some 6/6 bodies that are pretty common to mutate for 5 mana or 6 mana. So you have a 6/6 double strike, and then you get to Lightning Helix something. That's pretty gross. Also notice that this on curve, so let's say you play him turn 4, they untap and play Vivienne, the new Vivienne turn 5, right? He's on curve too, being able to mutate onto him, kill their Vivienne, attack in. Or, I mean, he could just attack in anyway. Double strike will get you through that beast token. But I don't know. Like, that's already having me thinking, at least rotation, this dude will be good against some of the bigger players we're seeing in the format already. This also kills a questing beast. That's a pretty important power and toughness point. It's just 4 is such an important number right now. I can kill Nissa lands. If you do it twice, you can kill a Nissa. And that's where I'm thinking, like, if you can just mutate onto the same legendary creature and have at least one of them stay in play, like, they play Nissa, you just get to mutate onto this, double trigger, kill the land, hit the Nissa, attack the Nissa, kill it. Like, that's... Or if they have an empty board, you mutate onto this and you attack for 6 + 8, 14 damage. Like, that gets out of hand so quick. If the double mutate sticks, and then you get to mutate another card on top of that, and it double triggers both the Lightning Helixes, that's disgusting. I don't know, there's just a lot going on with this, and I think it'll actually be pretty good. Again, it falls into the just, do nothing beefy dude category. If the removal lines up to where 5 toughness is good, which it seems like it is so far, he's going to be a player. And I love him, and Mardu is beautiful, and he is wonderful. Another quick one, we got Essence Scatter. This is going to be a reprint that flies under the radar for a lot of people, but mutate in a creature-heavy set, in a creature-heavy format, Essence Scatter is a big deal. Now you have to play around Negate, Essence Scatter, and Quench. Flash decks are going to have tools. I think Flash decks are going to be pretty sick in this format. Like, they're going to get even better, because people are just tapping out for beefy dudes on top of their already beefy dudes with one creature. They can just bounce it to your hand for sick tempo. Tempo is going to be a big deal against Mutate. So yeah, Essence Scatter is going to be really powerful, and you're going to hate playing against it. Alright, next we got, it appears to be Gimas the Destroyer. I don't know, I'm reading it in Spanish right now, I believe, so that's the best we got based on the translation. So it is a beast for 3 and a green for a 4/4 reach and trample. That's pretty good already. And whenever this creature mutates, destroy target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls, and it mutates for 1 green. My goodness. My goodness. Like, imagine just playing that 2 mana 1/3 frog, and the next turn just mutate for this for green. And then you destroy, I don't know, Fires of Invention or a Lucky Clover, and then you have a 4/4 trampler. That's disgusting. Enchantment creatures are a thing in the format. Lucky Clover's good. Elspeth Conquers Death is good. Fire's Invention is good. Wilderness Reclamation is good. This card seems good. Worst case scenario, 4 mana, 4/4 reach and trample. Yeah, dude, people are already playing Thrashing Brontodon. And this leaves behind a body when you kill something. Like this, oh my gosh. This is like a super upgraded Flaxen Intruder. The 1 mana, 1/2 that when it hits your opponent, you can sack it to destroy something. I think this card's fantastic. Just really good role player. Oh my goodness. there's so many things. And it's a cheap mutate effect, which we haven't seen. So you can either play it as an enabler mutate creature or mutate onto some other creature for cheap. It's oh my gosh. This card's going to do a lot. There's a lot of really important artifacts and enchantments in the format, and repeated removal effects for those is sick. Important to note the order of it versus Elspeth Conquers Death. It does matter. It does get hit by it pretty easy. You could, if you're looking out for that, mutate this underneath of a 2-drop, and then Elspeth Conquers Death can't hit it. That's going to be a play sometimes, guys. That's going to be a play sometimes. But yeah, this card's definitely going to be good. Alright, another fun one. We got a Grim Dancer. It costs 1 black for a 3/3 Nightmare creature. I think Nightmare Tribal might be a thing we can look for, dudes. Grim Dancer enters the battlefield with your choice of 2 different counters on it from among Menace, Death Touch, and Lifelink. So you effectively get to choose whether it has Menace and Death Touch, and Lifelink, or Menace and Lifelink. It's pretty good. It's pretty much like a discount build your own Vampire Nighthawk, right? If flying was in here, that'd be disgusting. But that seems really good. Menace and Death Touch is a really good combination because they have to double block it and you automatically get to kill 2 creatures. Menace and Lifelink is pretty good because they don't want to block it, and then it's good for racing. Death Touch and Lifelink is good for the same reasons. Yeah, I think this card could definitely do some work, man. I just love him. I love this design. Vampire Nighthawk is one of my favorite cards of all time, and this just reminds me of that, and it's just wonderful and beautiful, and it might not be the best in the format, but it will be a role player, that's for sure. Another quick one is Sprite Dragon. Costs blue-red for a 1/1 Fairy Dragon. That's a cool creature type. Art's beautiful. Flying Haste, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Sprite Dragon. Seems really good in the Jeskai Spells deck. So it's already kind of coming together, right? We got him, we got the other mutate creature. He's also multicolored in case Hero Precinct 1 still makes the cut. And there's nothing not to love. I just think if Jeskai comes together, this card will be good. If not, we'll never see it. I mean, blue-red spells might be a thing too, but you know. Alright, we got a crazy one, guys. We got Brokos Apex of Forever, 2 black, green, blue for a legendary creature, Nightmare Beast Elemental. With Trample, 6/6, you may cast him from your graveyard using its mutate ability. And its mutate costs 2, and then either blue or black, and then double green. So 5 mana, and it can either be Simic or Dimir or Sultai, and you can just cast it from his graveyard. It's like an escape cost, but without having to exile other creatures. If you have any sort of token creation, this is just forever. Obviously, if they exile the other creatures, this gets exiled too, which they're gonna have to, bro. This card, like, just imagine you're playing against an opponent and you have no exile effects, right? And just any one of their creatures or 1/1s just becomes 6/6 Trample Haste. Just every turn for 5 mana. They can just add, you know, I guess minimum, if they have to have at least an 0/1 out for you to be able to mutate onto it. But they're adding at least, you know, 5 power, 6 power, 5 toughness. Generally, I'll say at least for a 1/1 token, 5 power, 5 toughness to the board. Hasty. That's messed up. This is a messed up card. Exile effects better be in this format, they better be good. Otherwise, this and Uro just coming back forever. You know, Uro can kind of, you know, cannibalize this to come back from the graveyard, but it's stupid. You could even just have a graveyard-based deck that just mills it over. You can loot it. I don't know, just play it in like blue-green or black-green. Like this with Cavalier Thorns. Seems good. I'd put it in like a Yarok deck. I don't know, man. Anything with self-mill or just has use for 6/6 Trample Body, which is 90% of decks. And it's also just good at getting repeated mutate triggers, because even if they kill it, you can just... you always have something to get a mutate trigger. You always have a body to get back. I think this could be a boogeyman, especially after rotation. I think this will be a boogeyman in the format. This and Uro, dude. Sultai, Simic, Dimir. They're just going to have too much value from the graveyard. There's going to have to be some good exile effects. Alright, this is a fun one. We got Crystal Giant, which is, you know, it's Japanese right now. I don't know if that's the name, but it's 3 mana for 3/3. At the beginning of your turn's combat, randomly choose one of the counters that aren't on Crystal Giant. Put a counter of that type on Crystal Giant. Pretty interesting. This will be a fantastic mutate target if you happen to get Hexproof. So keep that in mind. It does get kind of wrecked by blink effects, and Brazen Borrower and Teferi are very well positioned in this format right now, so that'll set you back quite a bit. But I don't know, dude, this just seems like a prime mutate target if it gets hexproof and or first strike or double strike. Flying, yeah, this just seems like a sweet mutate target, and it works in any color deck, so this could actually be pretty good. You know, but hexproof is 1 in 10 chance, so we'll see. We'll see. If 3 toughness can stick around for a turn or two, I think it'll be pretty sick. At the very least, it'll be good for memes, which is 10 out of 10 in my book. Alright, next up we got an Abzan card. Right now, the only thing that's released is the Japanese version, the Godzilla version, so it's like Biolante, I believe is the Godzilla creature. Don't know what the actual creature, the card name is, but we got enough to work with it. So we got 2 white, black, green, so Abzan colors for a 5/5 with Death Touch and Lifelink. And whenever this creature mutates, return any number of creature cards with total power 10 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Its mutate costs 4, and then either white or green, black, black. So 7 mana. Oh my gosh. When I was talking about the Moth, and I'm like, this might be the favorite card of the set, this is a competitor. So yeah, the mutate cost is expensive, but the creature isn't. 5 mana, 5/5, Death Touch, Lifelink. It's not really playable, but a 5 mana, 5/5, Death Touch, Lifelink that can let you recur pretty much your entire graveyard. That's disgusting. And then if you just draw in the late game, like oh my gosh, okay. Think about this like, I don't know, in an Arcades deck or something, or a Doran deck where all your creatures have power 10 or less. Think about this in an Abzan Aristocrats deck, or even just, you only need black or green or white or black, really, to mutate it. You can get back, oh my gosh, you get back a Woe Strider, you could get back some Cauldron Familiars, you could get back Cruel Celebrants, you could get back, I don't know, dude, Plague Crafters, Ravenous Chupacabras. I'm talking about older formats at this point, but I can't believe this. If there's any good creatures with 0 power, this is just so abusable. Like, this is just a ridiculous amount of graveyard recursion. It's like a Command the Dread Horde just in your graveyard, and all you need is 1 creature in play. You can't get Planeswalkers, but in terms of utility creatures, it's pretty similar. Pretty similar. You could get, I mean, because if you're doing like Historic, right, and you're doing like, you know, Jade Light Rangers and what is that? The other champion that grows when you explore. I mean, you could get back 3 Jade Light Rangers, a Branchwalker, and 2 champions off of this. Like, what? I don't know. You could get back a ton of Crasises just for the death triggers. That's a thing. Spark Double. Spark Double's free to get back. So this could go in Sultai. I don't know. I think this card is disgusting. I would have to look at all the cards in Standard, but I know there's pretty devastating combos of creatures you can get back. Because there's even that 5 mana card that returns a creature with CMC 1, 2, and 3. And that card was already like borderline playable for a while. And this card just does that and so much more. And it gives a creature Death Touch and Lifelink. Or it's a 5 mana 5/5 Death Touch Lifelink that you just mutate onto for cheap. If there's like a 1 or 2 mana mutate card, that's disgusting. That would be disgusting. You play it for 5 mana next turn on tap. Or turn 6, play this and then mutate it right away for 1 mana. I don't know. I think this is disgusting. You got that snake you can get back for, that's 1 power and toughness. That makes creatures -1, -2 when you mutate. And that's pretty gross. That's a cheap one to get back. You can get back the Moth off of this. That's only 3 power. You still have 7 power to work with. I mean, legit, you just get back 2, 3, 4 Cruel Celebrants and a Woe Strider. You still have 3. Okay, how about 3 Cruel Celebrants, a Woe Strider, and a Nightmare Shepherd. 3 Cruel Celebrants, a Woe Strider, and the Moth. I mean, 3 Cruel Celebrants in your graveyard is a lot. Don't bet. That's nothing to bet your eye at, sure. But this is a late game card. So if you're in late game, you have at least 2 Cruel Celebrants in your yard. That's not crazy to me. This card is crazy to me, though. I'm going to brew around this like insanity, and I'm going to love it. Hope you guys do, too. I got to go before I have an aneurysm just thinking about all the possibilities. Dude, okay, I'm not done yet. Hold on. You get back Yurok, that's only 3 power. Spark Double's free. Just those 2 right there. What else do you need? Risen Reefs? Get back a Yurok, a Spark Double, and 1 Risen Reef. They all see each other enter at the same time. They all clone their triggers. Like, what? Agent of Treachery only has 2 power. This seems disgusting in Sultai. Oh my gosh, Dream Trawler only has 3 power. That seems kind of a weird deck for it, though. Dream Trawler's kind of a one-man show. You don't run a lot of mutate creatures with that. Yeah, this card's something else. When I remember Age of Treachery is 2 power, that is 12 different kinds of messed up. Oh my gosh, I don't know, dude. I gotta go. I gotta go. Alright, next we got Kaika Bat. Don't know if that's real. I just have the Japanese card right now, but it is a 3/3 creature bat with flying and lifelink. When this creature mutates, destroy target creature or planeswalker your opponent controls. Mutate for 6. Now, when I first read this, I'm like 6 mana for that effect. Flying and lifelink is pretty cool to give something, but And then I'm like, wait. 4 mana 3/3 flying lifelink is like maybe not even fringe playable standard. Oh, it's not even. But playing it, and then we saw plenty of 5 mana mutate effects, right? So plays turn 4, turn 5, mutate, boom. Sick. Also, if you ever get one of these out on the battlefield and then you mutate the second one onto it, just double trigger, like that's enough to just win you a game almost. Dude, like your opponent has like an Uro and a Nissa out, and then you just mutate onto this and you kill them both. Like what? Oh man. I think this card will have sick value if there are cheap mutate creatures. Dude, you could go turn 2 Toad, turn 3 this, turn 4 mutate onto it. There's plenty of 5. That's a pretty compelling curve for me right there. That makes me bat an eye. I think this could be really good. We just need 3 toughness to not be really easy to kill. So if they don't print like a bolt or something in the set. And then we also need cheaper mutate creatures. But this is a work of art, and I will take any approximation I can have of having his Chupacabra. Next we got Yadara, Wandering Monster. A 8/8 trample haste creature for 5 red dinosaur turtle, 6 creature types, bro. He is cycling for 1 in a red. When you cycle him, shuffle into your library from your graveyard. If you cycled him 4 times, put it onto the battlefield instead. Wow. And keep in mind, it's 4 more times, so it's not just the 4th time. So turn 4, 5, and 6, and 7, you can just keep on bringing it back. Over and over again. Instant speed, can't be countered. That's the important thing. Like, I could see this being kind of like a win condition in like a really long game Jeskai control deck. Because I mean, cycling for 2, it's kind of what you want to be doing. Maybe blue-red, blue-red flash. I don't know, because then you could hold up a quench and then cycle this if they don't. They were kind of looking for, because you know, the blue-green one has growth spiral. Blue-red one was kind of struggling to take advantage of that turn too. I mean, you have ops, I guess, and stuff, but like, I mean, I don't know, man. I kind of like this most as a uncounterable threat against control decks. They will need an instant speed way to deal with an 8/8 trample haste. Not super easy. Yeah, and then even if they just Elspeth Conquers Death one, like you can just cycle another one, and then by the time you get to late game, you're just hard casting it. Or, you know, if it's the late game, you've cycled enough times, then you just get to draw a card. Okay, in the late game, instead of a 7 mana 8/8 trample haste, which is like, you'd be fine drawing that if you have 7 lands, it turns into 2 mana, draw a card, 8/8 trample haste. So I think this could actually see some fringe play, or, you know, it could just be like a role player against control decks. If you're like, honestly, I could see this in like probably the Teamer mutate deck, because I feel like that deck's gonna want some ramp into bigger creatures. So this is pretty neat. It could also go into the Hippo deck, where you can cycle it early, and then it's also just a big dude later. It's pretty good. Yeah, I like this card. Now we got, I'm sure this isn't the real name, but it's Phoenix Perfect Life Form. You got a 4/4 creature Phoenix with flying. Whenever this creature mutates, create a feather token. It has pay 1 and sacrifice it. Return target Phoenix from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. And it mutates for 3 and a red. That's pretty cool. Trying to think what other Phoenixes we have in the format. So we got Phoenix of Ash, Arclight Phoenix, and Immortal Phoenix, which is bad. I don't even put that up on the screen. It's 5/3 flyer for 6 that can come back. Arclight Phoenix probably doesn't work super well with this. Phoenix of Ash comes back anyway. So this is really only recursion for itself. But you're already having to sacrifice it being its own, because you have to bring another creature with it, right? So you mutate and then you can get it back. So there's still kind of killing the other creature too. Whereas like stuff like Rekindling Phoenix was cool because there was a 2-for-1, and you only had to put one card into the deal to make it a 2-for-1. So I think it could be powerful. 4-mana 4/4 flyer is just straight up good. Kind of like a pretty good to me. I'm not like blown away by it though. And it comes back tapped. I'd like it to come back like with haste maybe, but you can do it on your opponent's end step. So like it's kind of got haste. I don't know. I could see maybe like what if you did like turn 2 Paradise Druid, turn 3 Phoenix mutate. Does make it easier to cast too. Only 1 red pip. Honestly, if there's a mutate creature with vigilance, and you can mutate onto Paradise Druid, that'd be pretty sick. See, I'm thinking about more stuff. This doesn't excite me too much. It could be fine. Alright, next we got Kogla the Titan Ape. 3 green for a 7/6 legendary creature ape. When he enters the battlefield, it fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. Whenever he attacks, destroy target artifact or enchantment defending player controls. And you can pay 1 in green, return target human you control to its owner's hand, and it gains indestructible until end of turn. So first of all, it makes sense for humans to be an archetype because mutate has to be non-human creatures. So it's going to be humans versus mutants, I suppose, which is pretty cool. So this is a payoff on your top end for humans. So humans will probably be like, I don't know, Selesnya or Bant colors, I imagine. When it enters the battlefield, it fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. That's pretty sick. So it can act as a removal spell right away. When it attacks, destroy target artifact or enchantment defending player controls. That seems pretty good to me. It's a big dude, but it has an ETB trigger, so it's more than just a big dude. And that attack trigger is sick in a format that is so predicated on enchantments and artifacts. I think this is a pretty good card. The only thing that'll hold it back, I think, is the casting cost. And if humans are actually good enough to have this on the top end. Because that allowing you to protect it is pretty sick. And it's just a way to recur. Because then there's other humans whose end of battlefield triggers you can abuse. I mean, even just like Charming Prince is pretty cool. But then also being able to protect it with that's pretty lovely. I think this card would be pretty good. If the mana base gets supported, I think it's good. Just good flavor too. Nice flavor, Wizards. Okay, second to last card for the day. We got Labyrinth Raptor. Red-black for a 2/2 with Menace. Whenever a creature you control with Menace becomes blocked, defending player sacrifices a creature blocking it. Oh. Black-red. Creatures you control with Menace get +1/+0 until end of turn. For a Nightmare Dinosaur. Awesome creature type. Awesome art. Awesome color pairing. Awesome card. So, wow. And there's a lot of Menace. There's the 3-mana 3/3 that can have Menace. You give that Menace in lifelink, and then attack in with this. This already, so they have to have 2 creatures, both of which have at least, well, one of which has at least 2 power for them to be able to just trade with this, and even then it's still a 2-for-1. I really like this card. Great way to activate Spectral too. Also, mutating onto this. I always want to say mutilate, I don't know why. Mutating onto this, pretty dope. Just make it a bigger creature, and then it's even harder to block. Oh yeah, I like this a lot. This could work really well in like the Mardu mutate deck. Yeah, I can see that kind of coming together. You have that 4-mana one with Mutate, and you could make this a 3/5 double striker. That Lightning Helix is something even better. 4 damage, you gain 4 life, and then whenever they block it, oh gosh, a 3-mana or a 3/5 double strike with Menace that when they block it, they have to sacrifice a creature. That's wow. Yeah, I think this card is gonna be pretty sick. The 2 toughness has me worried, but I don't know. At the very least, during rotation. Well, Stomp will still be in the format, and Stomp's a good card. Yeah, depending on how prevalent mono red is, this could be kind of rough. But, dude, at the very least, maybe like a sideboard card against like pretty heavy creature decks. And also with Mutate, creature amounts are at a premium. So if they have 2 creatures and they've mutated twice onto them and they have to sacrifice 1, that's pretty devastating. That's like, oh man, and then if he trades with the other creature, that's like a 4-for-1. Or even if they have 2 creatures, one has an extra mutation, that's 3 cards they've put in. You attack with this, they sack the 1 creature, it trades off with the other one. Because you just pump this once and it trades up pretty easy. Pump this twice and it definitely trades up. I like this card a lot. Even if it's just a sideboard card. I love it. Alright, last card for the day, Colossification. 5 green for an enchantment aura. When it enters the battlefield, chap the creature you enchanted, and it gets +20/+20. Well, first thought was Storm Herald, but it taps it, so that's kind of lame. If you have something that can untap it, that could also be a combo. It doesn't give a trample. If it gave a trample, maybe in some world, but otherwise, no. This is pretty clearly a meme card in my eyes, but I had to do it just because it's pretty funny to see a cat, lizard, dinosaur just roaming around. Oh man. Alright, well, that was the first day of spoilers, everyone. Super exciting. This is already like an hour and 20 minutes of recording, so I can barely even talk, but super excited. You guys can see there's definitely some cards in here that tickle my fancy. Love this set so far. I think it'll be super fun. It'll be interesting to see how successful Mutate is. It'll be interesting to see how it pans out. Let me know what you guys think, what you're excited for. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys on Monday with another video. Thank you so much for watching, and as usual, I hope you have a wonderful day.